everybody. Welcome back to Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers presented by Board Teachers. I'm the host, Devin Siebold. I've got my good buddy, Mr. James Yan. He's a comedian. He's a parent. I'm a teacher. I was a teacher for 13 years. Now I'm a comedian and a speaker. And we're here to, hopefully help you laugh off the stress of the teacher work week. Be sure to subscribe to us on all the platforms, rate us 5 stars, and don't forget to check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We're over on the WhatsApps. We're wherever. It's all over the place.
There you
I don't
go.
even know WhatsApp. I don't even know what it is. That could be like really sketchy. I just told them we're on the black market. I have no idea what it is.
We are actually.
We are. Okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of the black market.
Okay.
Speaking of dark deals and corners, James. One of the perks of teaching that keeps on giving.
Okay.
I know. You're like, you get a rhinoceros horn? I don't know where you're going with this.
Yeah, no idea.
One of the main perks is when you're teaching, you have a lot of students that you've accumulated over the years.
That is
a lot of relationships, and those students have to go into the real world. And occasionally you bump into them, and you get a special discounted price on whatever it is you're ordering.
Gotcha.
Like, for example, I was at a local theme park.
Okay.
And my kids were observing face painting happening. And they said, hey, I'd really like to get my face painted. And I looked at the price, and I was like, I would like to paint my house for that, actually.
Who runs this booth? Sherman Williams?
And I was like, well, maybe some other time.
Yeah.
And then I hear, Mr. Siebold. And I was like, oh, hey, oh, my goodness, I was your old student. And I was like, yeah, I remember. And luckily they were name tags at Disney because I was like, oh, yeah. I remember you. No, I did remember her. And,
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh, yeah, it's been, how's everything been? Are you doing well? And she has an art career she's trying to get into. And she follows my comedy and was talking all about all the comedy and everything. And I said, that's really awesome. We're just going to get something to eat, and the kids are like doing that window shopping. And she goes, "Do they want their faces painted?" And I was like, "Well," she goes, "It's on the house." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, absolutely." I mean, I was like, "Of course." And so they got up there, got a great face painting, and I gave her a shout out on Instagram. And
nice.
And I hope she becomes a famous artist one day, and then I can commission pictures of us and. Yeah, with shirt on, James. With shirt on.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
But I was like, wow, it's a cool perk. And
that is pretty cool, though.
But a week later, I went and did putt-putt over by the Disney Swan Reserve.
Okay.
And we went inside and had a cup of coffee. And an old student is there. And I was like, hey, how's it going? And we chatted up. And I go, I got to go to the restroom real quick. And I was with Kate.
Okay.
And Kate got coffee, and I come back out. And she's like, it was your coffee was on the house. And I was like, what? And, that's awesome. And he had hooked me up with a cup of coffee.
Because you were
Right.
that person's teacher.
So what I'm saying is I need to know where all my students work. If you were a former student of mine, I've had thousands of them. And that was just 1 year of teaching in Florida.
There you go.
I would love to, let me know your perks, where you at. I had a student one time get me into Universal.
That's pretty cool.
That's a big one.
Now, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
That kid liked you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Or they wanted to pass. They were active.
Okay, wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, okay.
I'm just kidding. No, you have some of those students that give you these perks. They see you out and about, and they help out. And I think that's a cool part of being a teacher.
It is. You know what the cool part really is, though?
What?
If they didn't like you or you had some kind of positive impact
They would
on
spit
their
in the
life,
coffee.
they would spit in the coffee, or they would charge you double. But they
Yeah.
really wanted to do something nice to you because they appreciated what you did for them as a teacher.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the cool part.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I posted online. I said, I had this happen to me. I would love to hear some more stories about other teachers having those perks, for
okay.
teaching. And I got some of them. Some of them were really good. One said, I have a student that currently brings me Taco Bell burritos.
Okay.
Taco Bell burritos. And in parentheses put, I've even considered changing their grade for it. And
wow.
I put a 5-layer for a 5-pointer. That's all I need.
That's awesome.
Yep. There was one that said, I'm pretty sure I saw some of my former students out picking up trash along the highway in coordinated and matching jumpsuits. So, doing some work.
You know what I mean?
One says they got out of a parking ticket because apparently the person that was there who was running the private lot knew them from them teaching, so they got out of it. And there was a few on there that said that their students became police officers and they got out of speeding tickets.
Oh, they're lucky.
That's a big one, yeah.
Because some of you teachers probably got gaffled.
Yep. One says old student worked at Disney and got them an awesome discount and took the whole family around Magic Kingdom. The whole family? Wow. Woo! You were their favorite. You were their favorite. But yeah, there was one that donated school supplies. That's pretty cool. There's a bunch that work in restaurants and they hook it up with the restaurants. I saw quite a few of those. And then there was another one that said, this is a pretty cool one. I love stories like this. There was a student that graduated and started up their own restaurant. And it was a Mexican restaurant, and they sent the teacher an email, and I guess this was an English teacher, and said, can you proofread our menu? We're about to open. And she proofread it, and there was only like 2 errors, and she sent it back, and they said, great, thank you so much. Dinner on the house for you and your family.
Oh, nice.
Come on. That's a cool little moment there. Cool. I got an old student that works at the pharmacy, so man, hook up the Adderall, bro. Hook it up. This is a cool one too. During COVID, when all of my classes were online, I had 2 college students, and apparently this was a class called Differential Equations.
Okay.
And they worked at the local Domino's Pizza. And so during their final exam, they would deliver her favorite pizza to the house so that they could talk to them in person about the exam and the questions.
Okay, that's smart.
It's smart, but also brilliant. I'm sitting at home like, where's my pizza? It's been like 4 hours. It says it was the next stop.
Yeah.
The kids over there like, do I carry the 7 or the 3? But a former student worked at Walmart and donated wipes, tissues, and hand sanitizer to the classroom. Awesome.
Nice.
Now, this is the one that made me laugh out loud. And it takes a lot to make me laugh out loud. But I put this in my mind when I first read it. I had a former student do a mammogram on me. Does that count?
I just prayed that it was at a clinic.
Yeah.
That's all.
One teacher was confronted by a student and asked if she could measure her at Victoria's Secret. And she was like, nope. No, I'm good.
No.
But yeah, reading through some of these, man. One was mine's a heart surgeon. Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a great one.
I always thought, you really got to get those lawyer students and doctor students on your
side.
Yeah, on your side. That's always a good one to have. But so I if you got some more perks, message us. Crying in my car at gmail.com is the email, and also we have all of our socials. You can message, comment on the video. There's comments down here, and you just comment on the video, whatever perks you've acquired as a teacher. I think it's a pretty cool little bonus to the profession.
Have you had that switch though?
What do you mean?
Where you do comedy. Have you ever had students come to your comedy?
Oh, I've hooked them up tickets all the time.
Okay, they come up to your
tickets all the time.
Club.
And then I had I was working as a teacher and also waiting tables at Longhorn. Don't forget.
Gotcha.
So I did have students come in, and I would kind of hook them up with maybe like some extras, perks, like a free dessert or an appetizer. I couldn't do much because you're just a waiter. You don't really have a lot of flex,
But food goes a long way.
Oh yeah,
free
especially
food.
for kids.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal to get a free molten sundae. It's like, oh man, this is awesome.
I break some laws for a molten sundae. Just want to put it out there.
You have.
I have.
You have.
There you go.
Okay, now let's jump into the teachers in the news, because I have a doozy at the end of this teachers in the news that I almost have to read the article word for word.
Okay.
You will not believe it.
Okay.
There's a charter school that's being shut down, and it's just because they've decided to go a different direction. And I think this is brilliant. They have decided to open up, instead of a charter school, they are closing down. They've been in business for 47 years, I think it said. And
that's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time for a charter school. They're closing down and reopening up as a teacher training center.
Oh.
So they're going to train teachers. And when I thought about it, I was like, well, that sounds a good idea. But we have plumbing schools. We have vocational schools all over the place for
We do.
electricians, plumbers, and chefs and things like that. Especially nowadays where you don't have to have the 4-year degree to get the certification. Maybe we should look into making teaching almost a trade, because it is a lot of work and it is a specialty.
Definitely.
You got to know about the subject you're teaching. It might be a good route to take, So I don't know much about the school. The article was behind a paywall. I did some browsing externally and was able to pull some little, just a little, here and there. And I managed to just pull that it was a teacher training school. And I think a teacher training school is a good idea.
I think it's a great idea because I'm imagining it's going to be taught by people who did the job.
Right. People who work there, maybe even, and plus you're in a school.
Yes.
I mean, that's so hands-on because that's the one thing. When I was in college, you're in a college classroom, but you're not really teaching the college classroom. You're not able to see how it works behind the scenes. You can't, and you're in a college classroom. You don't go in the faculty lounge. You don't get to go to the staff meetings. You don't get to, it could be kind of a cool immersive experience. I'm on board. I'll take it. So shout out to J.K. Haynes Charter for closing and paving the way, hopefully, for the future here. All right, next one. This one, man, you got to wonder the source. I did, but also, I read up on a few sources. So sometimes you see clickbait, and you're like, I don't know.
We talked about this.
I rounded the corners on this one, read other sources, and I was able to confirm most of this story.
Okay.
There is an LA prep school that opened as a all-inclusive, basically a woke school.
Okay.
We are anti-racism. We are all-inclusive. We are very inviting.
Okay.
And an ex-teacher is leaving because she says she was racially discriminated against at the school.
No, not at the woke school.
At the woke school.
No. How?
I can't say it. I can't. Not that.
Okay.
But I can't say the things that they were saying to her. Very, very insulting if true. I mean,
the woke school?
The woke school. The kids apparently were very entitled. Now, here's the thing. An interesting thing about this woke school, $40,000 a year to attend. This is not a public school.
This is a special, super duper exclusive kind of school.
It costs $43,000 a year, and she is suing them and accusing them of fostering a hostile work environment, failing to prevent harassment, and apparently wrongful termination. Apparently, she said she complained and said that it didn't live up to its name, its promise, and she got nothing.
Now, this is the kids insulting her.
Yeah, and now it is a very diverse school. 40% of the teachers are color, which is a very, very big number, comparatively speaking.
Normal schools.
Yeah, because we do not have a lot of non-white teachers in the school system.
Gotcha.
It's one of the main things that we sit and go, why do we not? We need more,
So you have me curious now, though. Like, okay, 40% non-white.
Yeah,
So
and 45% of the students are of color.
Okay.
And 28 of the board members are of color. The school mirrors the socioeconomic, cultural, and racial diversity of Los Angeles. This is their own quotes. Mm-hmm. New Road students are challenged daily to question their own worldview, assumptions, perspective, and righteousness. Their students represent a promise for the future. And apparently, also, the future includes racism.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay.
That's what I'm getting after this.
Gotcha.
I read this article. She said the parents that paid full tuition and the most entitled, she said, were mostly white. So is kind of a sense of entitlement, like the wealthier parents, large donations, giving them power to dictate the operation of the school.
Gotcha.
So there was kind of a white overlord hanging over this.
Gotcha.
And, it's like you try to create this, diverse environment and still this white, I hate to say it, but lack of a better term, supremacy still creeps its way in.
So I imagine the things they were saying were of a...
It's very derogatory, and racially charged, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Yeah.
And apparently staff members took issue with her statement saying, interesting. There's another line on this that I missed.
Uh-oh.
We have new information.
Breaking information.
Apparently, this person, who is black, has been lately making a push to say all lives matter in their productions of their school productions. It says the director of school productions, she says that all lives matter, and the staff members took issue. And so how do you
Okay.
All right, now I'm thrown off now. I have nowhere to go with this.
Now, I can see where there might be a problem at a very woke school to say all lives matter.
Yeah, but
I could see people going a little crazy.
Right, but she's black.
Yeah.
And the other staff members took it up with her for saying, hey, you can't say that. You should say Black Lives Matter. And she was like, no, I want to say all lives matter.
Well, I don't know if you know how wokeness works.
Nope, I do know
White people tell you what's racist.
Yeah, it's true.
That's how this works. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
They tell you, hey, that's offensive.
I know.
Yeah.
Right before we started the show, I was like, James, listen, what we're going to talk about today is a very controversial topic. You may not be familiar with it.
Yeah, exactly. So let me break down racism in America for you.
Let me break it down for you.
Yeah.
All right. Now this last one.
I'm not touching that one.
This last one, oh my goodness. This is an article that is not biased because it is a direct interview with this particular person.
Okay.
It is titled, this article is the last one, and man, I got to dive into this one, buddy.
I can't wait.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Buckle up, because I was on the plane reading this one, and I was like, ooh, like verbally. They were like, everybody, ooh. I was, ooh. Can you read that for me? Is that what that thing says? That is, but meet the Florida English teacher trying to ban 150 books from school libraries.
150?
150 books. So there is a book out, by the way. It is called When Wilma Rudolph Played Basketball.
Wilma Rudolph played basketball.
It is a book about the childhood of Wilma Rudolph, who is a legendary sprinter who won 3 gold medals in the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome. It is 32 pages long. It is an elementary school book. It is all about her childhood and the obstacles she had to overcome. And apparently, she was a black child in the South during the 60s and had to overcome discrimination. It is an inspirational story. Mm-hmm. It is an inspirational story. However, the English teacher that wants to ban the books said it's race baiting. Yep. Said the book is not appropriate for any student, and said it trashes and puts down people who are white. And it said it is an anti-white book. And she said, there's something not right about this. White folks struggled too.
Yeah, they struggled to.
I know.
They struggled to run behind her as she won a gold medal.
And she said that. Now, this is the thing: the woman who's trying to ban this book did not dispute the accuracy, but said that it would make white students feel uncomfortable because they're being white shamed.
Oh,
that's why I don't watch the NBA. I'm like, look at that. I could never jump that high. I feel shamed. White shamed.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and she said the book is inappropriate because not all whites treated blacks like this.
Gotcha. But I don't think they said that in the book.
Get this, James. And this is why I kept reading this article. There's so much in here.
I love it.
She said, this is her words. The book was inappropriate because not all whites treated blacks like this. And then added, not all blacks do drug crimes, but lots of people say they do.
Your Honor, the defense rests.
I know. I was like, boom. Excuse me, do I have to be white still? I'm reading this about this white woman.
I like to identify as not white.
I'm reading about it.
Oh, my.
Interestingly enough, she wants this book banned. And so the person interviewing her went onto her social media page and found that her profile picture was a Confederate flag. And she said, yeah, that's fine. The Confederate flag is fine because all my students know that I support the Confederacy. And then said, and I quote, everyone in my clan fought in the Civil War. Now, can we work on our choice of words, please? And she said she's not ashamed of that.
Her clan.
Yep. And she is apparently a daughter of the Confederacy. And yeah, man. But anyways, so she's challenging that book. But she's challenging more, too. Now, this is the interesting thing. She's challenging all these books and says that they're indoctrinating kids. The problem that I read is that in order to challenge these books, all she has to do is write the book title down, submit it to the state government, and then that book is by default put on a watch list to be removed from all libraries into a special section to where parents have to provide approval to get that book before it's even read or judged. So if you wanted to get that book right now, your child was in school, I want that book, you have to approve them reading about this child going to the 1960 Olympics.
And all I'd have to do as a parent is just put it on, write the title.
You can ban A Teacher in the Wild, my book, and say that, teachers in the wild.
Devin, done.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
No,
But
it should be a harder process.
You would think it would be a harder process, especially when you have people out here like this person who also is challenging the book, Tango Makes Three. The book is a true story about two male penguins, Roy and Silo, who lived in Central Park Zoo. They built a nest together, and the zoo provided them with an egg, and they adopted a child, Tango. There is no sexual content in the book. She said the LGBTQ agenda has used the penguins.
Oh, wow.
It is indoctrination. They're using the penguins. These two penguins must be in love. It's innuendo. They're too young to be concerned about why the penguins are both males. And she said that I think a second grader would read this book. And she said, this is her quote, I think that what would happen is a second grader would read this book, and the idea would pop into the second grader's mind that these two people of the same sex can love each other, which is not perfectly fine for my family.
Oh, so everything has to do with her family.
Oh, yeah.
And how comfortable they feel.
Yeah, she said she challenged the book because she believes that it violates the, Don't Say Gay bill that they've published.
Gotcha.
So perks of being a wallflower, beloved, Slaughterhouse 5, Water for Elephants. She is challenging all of them. And she said, this is the interesting thing, too, is that I read about it. She said that she believes that libraries and teachers who have these books or have provided these books to their class, I'm not kidding when I say this. This is her words. She says that she has asked the school officials to identify publicly all librarians or school employees responsible for purchasing the books that she has challenged on her 150 book list, and says that she believes they can and will be fully prosecuted for felonies under the Florida child laws.
That's a bit crazy.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
First off, 150 books. Like, I grew up in Florida and went to school here. There's libraries that don't even have that many books.
Yeah, I know.
But you're going to try to ban 150 books?
Now, this is what makes me even more angry, okay, is that she's threatening this. And there are teachers out there that I've talked to, and they go, I don't have a classroom library anymore because I can't risk it.
Wow.
And there's no books in their classroom. Can you imagine going into an elementary school teacher's class and there's no books?
That's crazy.
Can you imagine you can't just go sit in a reading corner? They don't have reading corners anymore.
So there's no story time.
There's no story time, stuff like that, because unless it's specifically in the curriculum, they read this book for this particular unit. There's no exploring, oh my gosh, I would like to read about those penguins. I would like to read about Wilma. I'm a young black girl who is wanting a hero.
Yes.
And maybe I could look at this and read about her. Look at the challenges she had to endure.
Yes.
So now you've got teachers that are scared. They're scared that they are going to be prosecuted. They're scared that this woman will win. They're scared that she has the backing of the government and their jobs are in jeopardy, their livelihoods in jeopardy, so they pull it. I seriously have had teachers say they do not have books in their classroom, and it makes you want to cry. You're like, what? That's not right for the kids.
I think you talked about this on a previous episode. Everything that happens in a classroom where it's a decision to remove something or not do something is all based on a lawsuit.
Yep.
So everyone's scared. Nobody wants to be offended. No one wants to get canceled. So we're stifling the creativity and the learning process because we don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
Why are we making it harder on a job that's probably one of the hardest jobs in America?
Exactly.
And we just keep putting barriers in your way.
Yeah. And not only that, but the kids. Give them books to read.
Yeah.
I mean,
when literacy is at an all-time, like illiteracy is like at an all-time high. Let's take more books away.
I thought we were at the peak of lunacy when we were trying to ban Harry Potter back, 20 years ago.
Not in my America.
I know. Yeah. And now we're banning penguins. Oh, my goodness.
I don't like them how they dress. They're too uppity.
How can you be black and white? Pick one. Besides Obama. Okay. I've actually compiled my own list of books, okay? But these are Goosebump books.
Okay.
Were you a Goosebumps fan?
I didn't. My kids loved them.
You
I
kids
didn't read
love
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read a lot of Goosebump books, and I don't think they'd be, allowed in the classroom today.
Why?
Say cheese and die.
Okay. Well, all right.
Yeah. She's like, well, who's dying? Because I might ban it if it's the penguin.
That's right. Yeah.
But anyways, say cheese and die, was a good one, but they had a lot of scary, a lot of crazy things, and I decided to rewrite them for teachers.
Okay.
So these are my Goosebump books for teachers. Okay. So first one is Say Cheese and Die, the story of a teacher attempting to get her kindergarten class ready for picture day. It's a horror story. Every kid ruining their clothes, going 8 different ways, trying to get kids to smile. And then they want to take your picture too after all that. All right, now your turn to sit down. You're like, Night of the Living Dummy. You remember that book?
Yes.
That is the story of a teacher that stays up all night preparing a lesson for bell-to-bell work because someone in this district is coming tomorrow, and then they don't go into your classroom. They just walk by and wave, and you're like, I'm the idiot. It's me. I'm the dummy.
Yeah.
All right, this is One Day at Horrorland. That was one of my favorite R.L. Stine Goosebump books. One Day at Horrorland is about the first field trip. It's where I orchestrated it with 3 chaperones, and they bailed, and suddenly there's 12 kids in your group, 100% humidity, 95 degrees in September, Florida sun at SeaWorld. And you're like, just take me, Shamu, dipping my hair in the tank. Part I could edit it. All right. Curse of the Mummy. Curse of the Mummy. That's about the kid that keeps asking to go to the restroom. You're pretty sure he takes enough to wrap himself in toilet paper. And then there's the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Do you remember that one?
Do.
That's a novel about the student that fell asleep during a standardized test, and it's untimed, and you can't wake them. And you're just sitting there like, can you just get up, please. Just get up. I want to go home. All right, Go Eat Worms. That's about the candy bar that you put in your desk. And then by 6th period, the bugs have gotten to it. At this point, you eat it anyways.
That's right.
Right? And then there's The Barking Ghost. That's a little-known Goosebumps book. Barking Ghost is a story of a child that won't quit talking in your room, but you can't quite figure out who the hell it is. And they won't shut up, and it's driving you insane. I've had that. You hear the whisper. You turn around. Wait a minute. Phantom of the Auditorium is a popular Goosebumps book. This is because the auditorium is in every school. It smells like someone farted in it, and yet there's no one in there prior to you. You're like, how does it always smell like the restroom in here?
It's the smell of dreams dying. That's what that is.
Why I'm Afraid of Bees is the story of a bee that gets in the classroom, and the kids are running and screaming for their lives. 80 times more dangerous than the bee itself, by the way. It's like the yelling fire in a theater.
Yes.
There's no fire. Kids, calm down.
Pandemonium.
And then there's The Ghost Next Door. This is the final one, the final Goosebump book. This is when you hear the teacher's class next door going crazy, but then when you send a kid over to tell them to calm down, it's quiet, and you look like the jerk.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like, hey, what's going on in here other than learning?
We were that class.
Stuff.
We were that class.
Were you really?
Yes. We knew.
Yeah.
As soon as somebody came over.
What are you doing? What are you talking about? Everything's fine. As soon as they leave. Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, thank you so much for joining me and James today for this episode of Crying in My Car podcast for teachers. Love to hear your suggestions. Go ahead and write them down in the comments. Hit that subscribe button, obviously, if you're on the podcast, if you're on the YouTubes, if you're on the TikToks, wherever. And thanks so much for following us. James, where can they find you, buddy?
You can find me on Instagram at James Yon Comedian. That's YON Comedian.
And I'm all over. Devin Siebold, Devin Siebold Comedy on Facebook. Find me, subscribe, and thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Hey everybody, you've been listening to Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. What you need to do is you need to hit subscribe, and then you need to watch some of the other clips. There might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that, but us. Suggested things, that's us, Crying in My Car, Devin Siebold, James Yon, bored teachers, watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay.